what is not your personal opinion, your party's official stance on immigration legal and then separately illegal?
Yeah, so again, each person's allowed their own slightly different nuance. So for me, it would be slightly different than others. But if somebody's coming in to do a job and they're qualified and the job's in need, then I have no issue with that. So I always give the example: you need 10 brain surgeons on the island of Ireland, and they need a certain amount of hours per year to keep the practice up. Say there's only 6. Well, I have no issue bringing 4 people in, and they're there to do that job. What I do have a problem with is people coming in that are unskilled, and they're taking jobs away from the working classes. And then the working classes are competing with the lower end jobs. The housing rents go up as a result, especially you guys in the south know, and the cost goes up through the roof. So I think it's an algorithm. I think it should be based on the amount of housing stock that's available in a certain area, the jobs, the school places, criminal record checks as well. All has to be coming legally. I think if somebody's coming in to do work, it could be on a 5-year term, for example, and then we have a strategy in the background to train people here to do it. But if, say, they're out of work for 1 or 2 years out of that 5-year term, they get sent home. They expect people are going to do. There will be a revolt because people.
Water is good. Water is interesting. That'll be interesting in the north. The last time the Irish people got together as a people was when they tried to implement water charges here, and it was called kind of a grey protest that all the over 50s, over 55s basically got out in the streets, and they stopped it. And they did stop. Now the meters are all still in place. They all still exist. They will try and bring it in again at some stage. But it's the one thing that unified people together. It didn't matter whether you were left, right. Everybody had a water pipe going into their house, and it affected everybody. Why isn't the same thing happening over cost of living, fuel, etc., that everybody's pushed?
Yeah, I mean, Sinn Féin, I never agreed with violence. Again, I was more of a John Hume fan. They've subscribed to saying, IRA, there's no alternative. That's where they stand. But what I would say is the early IRA and Sinn Féin, they were Irish nationalists. They actually believed in the nation of Ireland, their own sovereign decision making. I think what the saying I like to say is nobody has bought into the peace process as much as Sinn Féin have been bought into the peace process. Money talks, and they've completely sold out what they originally stood for. And there would be a lot of people that are turning in their graves. So they're not the Sinn Féin of what they were. The issue in the north is that whatever basically the Protestants and Unionists do, the Catholics and the Nationalists do the opposite, because it's green and orange, it's Man United versus Liverpool. It's not proper politics up here, it's sides. And if you don't believe, if they say one thing, you have to think the other.
A Cork man called Gerard Banks introduced me to the works of Terence McSweeney quite recently, and that I knew the man died on hunger strike. I did not know anything about Terence McSweeney. I didn't know anything about his book or anything like that. And after reading it, my view has been changed. Now, I despise Marxism. I don't mind. I despise communism in all its forms. I think it's an evil on this planet that has been tried and tested and failed every single time. And what we have now is a form of cultural Marxism, which is the means of production don't exist anymore in the traditional sense, so to speak, as what they were talking about in the 1800s. But I now have an awful lot more empathy for people who subscribe to writings as such and their misunderstandings of them.